I really want this film to be good, for Phase 5 to be different. I hope Marvel take risks and make things darker because I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen in this film. I also really want Kang to feel like a genuine threat and someone that you shouldn't mess with.
Oh boy. What's up everybody? My name is Carl, and today I'm going to review Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Directed by Peyton Reed, Quantumania takes place 2 years after Endgame, where we follow the Ant-Man family who get sucked into the quantum realm where they realise there's more to it than they thought, such as strange creatures, civilizations, and a mad conqueror called Kang who is seeking to get out. Scott Lang, Ant-Man, played by Paul Rudd. I'd say Paul Rudd still does a decent job as our likeable Ant-Man character, filled with the quippy one-liners and jokes, but it strangely felt a little dialed back in this film. Scott wants to enjoy the fame life as a hero, but he only gets to enjoy this for literally 5 minutes. Now he's got to go back to being an Avenger and get everyone out of the quantum realm, especially his daughter, Cassie, who is more or less the reason for them getting there in the first place. That's more or less how Cassie is used in this film, as a MacGuffin for Scott. If you removed her from the narrative, she really makes no impact on the story at all. Even her corny ass speech to the rebel people wouldn't have mattered, like anyone could have done that. I thought the Ant-Man suit was interesting in this film, acting like nanotech, which I would gather was influenced by Tony Stark. As much as I like the idea and advancement, I still prefer the more practical suits we saw in the first and second film. Like the one in Civil War is still my favourite. Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. I think we are definitely looking at the next Thanos. Seriously, Jonathan Majors embodied the role. Kang was a menace. Anytime Kang was on screen, you can certainly feel the tone of the film change. Like everything became serious, no jokes or gags were made, just pure sinister intent. Kang's backstory in this film is interesting. We get another glimpse into his villainous antics and what he is capable of. Of course, this is only the beginning, and until Avengers Kang Dynasty, I'm sure we have lots more to see from him. I really liked the technology Kang used in this film. It certainly got this more advanced setup and almost seems to be more cosmic, which coincides with the MCU themes. The post-credit scene with all the Kangs definitely excites me for what is to come with Kang the Conqueror, and I hope going forward, he has no mercy on anyone. Favourite sequences? Kang meeting Janet for the first time. I think the first time Kang meets Janet, it really perfectly encapsulates the exposition of Kang in the MCU. We get to know more or less everything about him in this very sequence. I think the moment where the atmosphere shifted is when Janet touched Kang's memory bank on his ship, and we collectively realised that this isn't just a time traveller, but someone with pure evil intent. Kang and Ant-Man first interaction. Similarly to Janet's first encounter with Kang, I really like the interaction between these two polar opposites. Kang is cold and stoic, even hinting to Scott that he's killed Avengers before, including Thor, which definitely shows he ain't messing about. I love the moment where he throws MODOK across the room as he talks while Kang does. It's like an oh shit moment. Ant-Man in a time probability situation. I really like the trippy visuals in this sequence. I know it's not anything that's going to be a big memorable moment in the MCU or even a great visual effects job, but the whole environment was wacky. I liked the moment when all the other Ant-Man variants help our Scott get to the power core, essentially looking like actual ants from certain shots, which was a cool part of the scene. The only thing I didn't quite get was the Baskin and Robbins Scott. I get it was different variants of Scott, but wouldn't that have been in that very moment? More probable they had that in for comedy, but I don't think it was necessary. Ant-Man and Kang fight. There honestly should have been more fight scenes between these two. The short little fight scene that they had at the end of the film was great. Honestly, I genuinely expected Scott to get killed by Kang in this scene, but they for sure put it off, which I kind of wish they didn't, because this is that dark turn they could have done to rejuvenate the MCU. I like the way that Kang tries to stamp on Scott, as if he's an actual ant. It was a cool little reference. I liked how it was more back to basic fighting, a punching session than using any fancy tech. That's what I would like to see more of in the MCU, but given how cosmic things are going, I think it'll be rare. The good points of this film: cast. As ever, Marvel did a great job with the cast. I think everyone respectfully acted out their roles quite well. Bill Murray was in this. For one scene. I would say that one person stood out amongst the rest of them, and that of course was Jonathan Majors as Kang. Which brings me on to my second good point of this film, which was Kang. By far he carried this entire film. It really set the groundwork for Kang Dynasty and any other cameo appearance he has yet to appear in. I really enjoyed the stoic, menacing and intimidating character Jonathan Majors portrayed. This antagonist has been trapped and waiting in the shadows for quite some time, and is hell-bent on getting what he wants. Quantum Realm development. I like how throughout the Ant-Man films we've seen the Quantum Realm evolve from being a dimension of nothingness to having actual civilizations and creatures. I would say that it is a pretty messy dimension, filled with different settings and locations, making it pretty wacky and inconsistent. I guess it's more or less what I would expect it to be, which is a good thing. The bad points of this film. Cassie Lang. I guess if I had to pick a not so great character in this film, it would be Cassie. I don't know what it is, but she comes across as pretty one-dimensional, and also not very integral to the plot, if she wasn't used of course as a MacGuffin for Scott. Seriously, there's not much I can think of that she did that was pivotal to the plot. Someone else, perhaps even that warrior lady, could have made that speech for everyone to fight with them and rebel against Kang and his army. I think even in the beginning of the film, she kind of tried to make her father look bad by making out he doesn't do anything. He legit was the reason the world was saved and was instrumental in defeating Thanos. Let the man enjoy his fame. MODOK. I said to my friend Taron before the film even started that someone is going to have a gag in this film, and I was right. Because MODOK was the joke of the film. Good lord, the CGI looked bad on him. They basically stretched his face or used the Snapchat filter that gives you a big mouth. I get in the comics MODOK has a giant head, but damn, they didn't do it justice in this. I kind of wish they allowed MODOK to be a genuine side villain who actually could return or even cause some damage to the Ant family. Instead they made him the butt of each joke. No stakes. I briefly mentioned this earlier, but this film, despite being set in the Quantum Realm, didn't feel like there was anything to lose or be tense by. From the trailers, I got the sense that somebody was going to bite the dust, and I wished in a way they did. I was expecting Kang to kill Scott at the end of the film. I know that's a shocking thing to do, but they should have. It would have set the tone for Phase 5 and allowed the MCU to get more serious and darker. And it's not like anyone truly dies in the MCU. They could get another variant of Scott when Secret Wars comes along. Normally in a trilogy MCU film, it's custom for our superhero protagonist to lose something. Cap lost his shield, Tony lost his home, Thor lost his eye and hammer, and Peter lost his existence. And Scott? Well, he didn't lose anything. It kind of broke the cycle. It might not be such a huge deal, but I guess it shapes their character arc. It kind of felt like Scott didn't really develop at all. I guess maybe Kang got into his head and has now made him anxious, which is probably one of the worst things you could do to anyone. Utilization of Wasp. Wasp was barely used in this film. It's like they told Evangeline Lilly to take a back seat for this film. We sort of lost the dynamic duo with Scott and Hope, which is a shame as they have really great chemistry and show some awesome teamwork, which we rarely got. Visual effects. I think someone mentioned this already, but some of the shots of the Quantum Realm look like desktop screensavers. It doesn't look like there's any depth to the place. I think the use of green screen is pretty noticeable in this film. Not that that's a problem, it's just the execution which doesn't look great. As ever, it seems as if there's a great issue going on with Marvel VFX artists, and this definitely needs to be addressed. Give these guys a break and more money. It's probably a lot cheaper to do green screen backgrounds than physically being on location, but it certainly could add more reality to the film and gives it a high quality aesthetic. I guess the lockdown COVID restrictions put a spanner in the works, but hopefully going forwards, things can change. So I gave Ant-Man and the Wasp an 8 out of 10 back in 2019. I still think it's a pretty decent movie, despite being more like an underwhelming filler after the praises of Infinity War. With a lot more films coming after that one, I am changing my rating to 7.75 out of 10. I've also not reviewed the first Ant-Man film before, and I have to say it's a pretty unique film. The creativity and playfulness of it doesn't feel as well captivated as it does in the other films in the trilogy, than this. I'd give that an 8 out of 10. And Quantumania? Well, in conclusion, I'd give this film a 7.25 out of 10. I think the exploration of the quantum realm was fun, albeit the iffy green screens, and Kang the Conqueror was an epic villain and most certainly is the next big bad of the MCU. I definitely think, however, they need to sort out and treat the visual effects teams better, and going forwards into phase 5 to take risks and make things darker. I have a feeling that's not going to happen, but it's something that could freshen up the franchise. I miss the days when I'd be excited for the latest MCU film, and now it kind of feels like a chore and quite underwhelming. Maybe I'm just getting older. So comment down below what you thought of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Who were your favourite characters and what were your favourite sequences? Like and subscribe and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!